Hey guys, thanks for coming back to my channel. On today's video, we're going to talk about Instagram and porn and sort of how it affects men when they're looking at it, as well as their committed relationships. If you remember, we did a video just the other day regarding, women posting that type of stuff, and now we're kind of getting like the flip side of how it affects men to be looking at it.
Long enough, and we don't know, there haven't been enough studies, but there have been some studies that show, for example, that men who are exposed repeatedly to images like the ones you describe on Instagram, repeatedly exposed to images of attractive and sexually attractive women, decrease their commitment to their regular partner if they're in a regular mateship. And so it actually has the effect of undermining long-term committed relationships. It also, I think, is.
I'm just curious here about what he just said. So I'm thinking, like, is that because you go out there and you see these photos of these hot women or whatever, and you're just like, oh, there's these beautiful women out there that I could get. So then you're like, well, look, I'm with this woman here, and I've been with her for a year or 2 years, whatever. Like, I've seen her naked so many times. It's boring now. Is that what's happening?
Gives people the illusion that sometimes it's called, if you talk about single people, it's called decision paralysis, where, like they show this in stores, like where if you present 6 jams and say you taste 6 jams and people go, oh, I like this one, they buy a jar of jam. You present 24 samples of jams, people go, I can't decide, I'm not going to buy anything. And I think a similar thing is happening in the mating domain, is where people see these thousands or millions of potential mates out there, or think that they're potential mates out there. And I think it's caused a decrease in committed relationships. And
I think that's a good point he just made. You're seeing all these profiles, and I think we can all relate to this, right? You go on any online dating or whatever, and you're just like, wow, like you're just swarmed with profiles. And then you see them all and you like some or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, and you match with one, but then you're like, oh, this other girl that you think is hot, whatever, match with you, or whatever it is, right? Like you're like, oh, you're interested in that one, and then another one comes along and you're kind of interested in that one, but you're talking to this one, you're like, what the hell? And it's like you just almost end up in like this weird circle where you're just going around and around and around and around. Like, you got to make a damn decision. This is why I think online dating and the internet and this type of thing, like for humans, I feel like our brains are not developed enough to handle this. It'll be interesting to see what the effects are, long-term effects of all of this, because I remember growing up when the internet wasn't a thing. So in late 80s and early 90s, at least, it wasn't a thing for me. I didn't really get the internet until 95, maybe. So we had like a 14.4K modem. We would connect to like a BBS, and back then, not much. You couldn't do much. I remember I was connecting to some BBS and like playing some like text-based game, where I was like adventuring or something. You would go on Alta Vista or Yahoo, or you go on there and you would like search for like some basic stuff. And then of course, porn got on there, but there really wasn't like dating. And then I feel like once the dating stuff come on, I feel like with Plenty of Fish, maybe that was one of the first ones that I remember. I don't know. It got a little crazy. It feels like it got a little crazy. And that would have been like 2003, 4. Kind of missed those days of the 80s and 90s, man. Those were good days.
And we know, I can't definitively trace it to that, but we know very certainly that there has been a diminution of relationships, romantic relationships, marriage, offspring production, where a lot of people are sitting in front of their screen, getting presumably some of their needs met through these online forums rather than in real life. And I think that these are likely to have fairly detrimental and possibly catastrophic effects long term, because even things like, from a male perspective, what it means if you're spending all your time in front of a computer screen looking at Instagram photos of women with butts in the air or pornography, you're not out there interacting with real women in real life, and so you're not developing the kinds of social skills you need to attract a real woman in real life.
It's so true. That's like so true. And that's why you get all these people who complain and they're like, I don't know how to communicate to people outside, like in the real world. It's like so weird. Like I'm only like they're good at texting, but when you get face to face, it's like really weird. I don't know, guys. It's like we need to get back to talking to people face to face and having that connection. And here I am talking to you on a YouTube video. But look, after you guys watch this, you can go out and meet people in the real world.
And then also, I think the other thing that this creates is different forms of anxiety. So we know, for example, that a lot of the men suffer from dating anxiety. You know, that is, they fear rejection, and so they don't want to approach women. And so it actually is the narcissists and the psychopaths who don't fear any rejection. They boldly go. But a lot of men do have what I would call dating anxiety. And so they get intimidated by women. And then furthermore, even, and this is a speculation, but watching porn, I think, can have a detrimental effect on both women and men in the following sense is that we are a species that engages in social comparison. It's one of the things that we do. And I guess maybe when you were talking about envy earlier, of envy of other people's accomplishments, that's one facet of that. We compare ourselves to others, and it's a human nature kind of thing. We, how well am I doing compared to my neighbor or whatever.
Ultimately, what all that does is just makes you unhappy with your life because you're comparing it to somebody else because you think they have more money or they have a hotter wife or they have a better life or whatever it is. And then it just brings you down when realistically, if you were in their household, they might be fighting every night. Like they could literally be fighting every night. Or they literally have no money in their bank account. They have a whole pile of debt because they're overspending and it looks flashy on the outside, but on the inside, they got nothing. Like it's so shitty. We do this to ourselves. And that's another reason why I don't like Instagram and all this stuff, because all you do is you go on there and you see people doing all this fun stuff and you think, oh my God, they're out there partying in Spain or whatever on the beach. But realistically, it's all for show. When you go on Instagram and you're being flooded with it because you watch 2 videos or 3 videos of somebody, having some crazy beach party or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, I wish I could do that. And then Instagram's like, well, he or she likes watching a bunch of beach party videos, so just going to keep showing you that. And then you're like, oh my God, these people are having all this. I want to do that. Oh my God, my partner can't provide that for me. Or I don't have that in my life and I can't do that. And then you get like sad about it. These people who are having the beach party might only do that once a year or not even. Like, it just skews our perceptions of everything. It's just silly.
So, but if people are comparing themselves to what they're seeing on porn, then from a woman's perspective, she thinks, well, men are expecting me to be a sexual acrobat in real life, and so it's creating these perhaps detrimental expectations from women, and then men see these guys who can go for 45 minutes.
They got fluffers. That's what I heard. I don't know. I watched some documentary or something. Whatever it is, they do a scene for like one position for whatever it is, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, and then they stop, and then there's like a fluffer, whatever, that kind of keeps the guy like erect or whatever, and then they like whatever, they get ready for the next part, and then they go to the next scene, and he has to go, and it's not like they're doing 45 minutes straight. It's edited. It's like anything. Nothing is real if it's recorded. Even me, I'm doing this YouTube video. I'm going to cut out probably 50% of what I say because I'm going to be pausing and I'm going to ums and ahs and there'll be hesitation, or I say something that's stupid and I'm like, I don't want that to be in there. So I'm going to cut it out.
And who have schlongs that are, so I actually did some recent research on this. The average male penis is about 5.5 inches long, erect. The average porn star is 8 inches long, with the 2002 record top porn star guy 13 inches.
2002?
2022.
Okay, somehow we ended on size of wangs, but okay, besides that, I thought that was interesting. It's just comparison is the thief of joy. Isn't that the phrase that we say, right? I mean, you compare and then you get stolen. You guys probably hear that these guys got 8 or 11 or 13 inches, and you're like, I don't have that. I have 6.5. You know, you're thinking that or whatever it is. Or maybe you have 9 and you hear this guy is 13. You're like, shit. Like, it's just, ugh, it's so dumb. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I think I took away a lot from it. I hope you guys did too. And I look forward to hearing your comments below. Please like and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.